Hi, I am Kate Kelly from Lewis Creek Association and LCA's South Chittenden River Watch Volunteer Water Quality Monitoring Program. I want to talk to you about how we can take better charge of our lake's future by using a watershed approach. We have been learning about our water quality over the years and want to share this information with you and invite you to network with us as we work to better achieve an all-in approach. We invite you to join LCA, where we can best coordinate and decide how to encourage more action and engagement at all levels of our communities. Lake Champlain is an important and valued resource to Vermonters. The 2017 Clean Water Report by the Vermont State Treasurer says that $300 million is raised in tax revenues and fee revenues from tourism each year. This number, tourism, is only a portion, about 1/5 of what we bring in revenue because of our clean lake and natural resources. A polluted Lake Champlain is costly to all taxpayers, rich and poor, and may be costly for generations to come. Recently, we have been losing money from tourism and decreased property values, as well as from lake cleanup expenses, by failing to slow down our rate of phosphorus loading to Lake Champlain. The 20-year total clean water compliance costs are projected to be $2.3 billion, or $115 million per year, according to the Vermont State Treasurer's 2017 Clean Water Report. We must work at every level, from property owners to municipalities to the state, to restore the health and functioning of our watershed. We're going to need everyone to pitch in, because what we do on all of our properties and in our towns throughout the watershed will determine our rate of success in restoring the health and beauty of Lake Champlain. Your help is essential. We have phosphorus-rich clay soils in the Lake Champlain Basin. During rain events, both fertilizer, manure, and these tiny clay soil particles that bind to soil phosphorus are carried the farthest and fastest, leading to excessive phosphorus in our stream and lake waters. The smallest amount of bare soils can lead to erosion that transports this soil to Lake Champlain. Phosphorus provides the bulk of food for algae. This then results in excess algae growth, including potentially toxic blue-green algae, or cyanobacteria, and fish kills. Champlain Valley streams drain a very large landmass to Lake Champlain. The watershed that feeds Champlain is 18 times as large as the lake itself. Rainfall and snowmelt wash over this large landmass and carry sediments, nutrients, and pollutants into our rivers and streams and on down to Lake Champlain. Vermont contributes 631 metric tons of phosphorus to the lake per year. Agriculture and development contribute the most to phosphorus loading. Developed land contributes 18% of the phosphorus load, and agriculture contributes 41% of the phosphorus load. In order to meet our phosphorus reduction targets to improve lake water quality, which is on the right of this screen, we need to reduce phosphorus by about 30%, with the largest and most cost-effective reductions coming from agriculture. Straightening rivers and armoring banks was done mistakenly to save farm fields and backyards. It caused water to flow faster, which led to more flooding downstream, more carrying of sediments, and more damage to property because of the force of floodwaters. In this slide on the left, you can see a naturally sinuous or curvy stretch of the LaPlatte River in Hinesburg, near O'Neill Road and Shelburne Falls Road. On the right, you see a straightened stretch of the LaPlatte, near Silver Street and Charlotte Road in Hinesburg. Of the reaches that have been assessed in the LaPlatte watershed, 66 miles, 14 miles were mapped as straightened, so that's about 21% of the mapped sites. Flooding is much more common now because of climate change, more rainfall, more rain in the winter, and larger, heavier storms. Of course, we're all familiar with Irene, which is when this picture was taken. The vast majority of phosphorus reaches the lake during these major stormwater events. With more heavy rainfalls, water-soluble phosphorus fertilizer and phosphorus-rich clay soils more readily wash off and erode farm fields into surface waters. So in our very large Lake Champlain drainage area, Clay soils, past management practices, more development, and heavier storms are accelerating the rate of phosphorus and other pollution reaching the lake. Because our river systems are so connected to lake health, solutions to lake pollution must occur throughout our river systems, including their upslope watersheds. It takes an all-in watershed approach. This watershed approach is complemented by Vermont's enhanced and science-based river management practices. We will now watch a brief video that shows 3 river management principles. Each new strategy is shown first, followed by the historic stream alteration that it replaces, and why this replacement is important. I'll now review those 3 river management principles that we saw in the video. First, we must allow natural floodplains to work by slowing flows and attenuating sediments. When this happens, phosphorus-rich clay soil can settle out onto floodplain lands, delivering nutrients to floodplain plants that enrich habitat instead of carrying those nutrients to the lake. Fully functioning river corridors and floodplains allow more stream flow water to stay local, soak into the ground, and recharge the groundwater supply. Stream water and sediment flows slow down when streams meander naturally. By increasing meanders and the stream length over the slope of its watershed, these flows are less erosive, and both habitat and water quality increase naturally. With increased stream length, meanders and more gentle river flows will ensure ideal habitat conditions for all river life, including invertebrates, fish, and other terrestrial river corridor animals. Removing gravel from the stream bed causes downcutting, adds to stream speed and force, and therefore erosion and sediment loading to the lake. The overall message of this video is that what we do in one place in a watershed may have an unintended effect on the stream, so we have to consider the functioning of the whole watershed or catchment area to be effective. This is taking a watershed approach. So let's talk for a minute about what's being done here in Vermont to address water quality. The state of Vermont has put or will soon put new regulations into place, including the 3-acre permit, the Municipal Roads General Permit, and Required Agricultural Practices, or RAPs. Towns and property owners must meet these requirements, often at great expense. Lewis Creek Association and land trusts work to promote voluntary measures, often going above and beyond regulations to take into account climate change. For example, the Vermont Land Trust conserved the river corridor on the Clifford and Briggs farms in the Starksboro Valley. This project will allow the stream to meander and access its natural floodplain, as in the video. Monitoring water quality helps to detect hotspots while understanding trends. LCA's Water Quality Monitoring Program, South Chittenden River Watch, informs our project locations and designs, as well as the work of state agencies. Our current data results confirm that all of the LaPlatte region streams have excessive phosphorus concentrations. Towns and others can better utilize this information. For example, by including this information about high phosphorus in your town plan, to allow the DRB authority to make conditions for water quality, such as respecting a wider buffer. Lewis Creek Association's scorecard map for the LaPlatte River and direct drainage watersheds shows 10 years of water quality data results and includes information on culverts and stream channel stability. On this map, each icon with the 4 small squares is one of our sampling locations. Each small square reflects a different parameter for water quality. Phosphorus is in the upper left corner of each, and it also shows solids or sediment, chloride, and E. coli, the bacteria. The colors reflect a water quality score of poor, red, moderate, yellow, or good, green. You'll note that every station in this area has poor or high levels of phosphorus in the upper left corner of each of those 4 squares. On subsequent pages of the scorecard map, it shows results for each town and includes data on stream channel stability and culverts, how well they match the channel, and how they impact the movement of fish and other animals in the stream. So I'll very briefly show you an example of each of these for each town. So you're looking at Charlotte here. And after each town's map, the document also gives a list of projects suggested for each town by various reports and studies. These projects inform our work in your town to improve water quality. So this is an example of the beginning part of Charlotte's list of projects. Here is Hinesburg's map and list of projects, and Shelburne's map and list of projects. Lewis Creek Association's Ahead of the Storm program showcases slow it, spread it, sink it principles to its demonstration sites and in all land management practices. By installing practices like these throughout the watershed, we'll be able to help improve water quality in our streams and lake. This site, East Thompson's Point Road in Charlotte, is a roadside swale designed with these rock check dams to slow water down before it drains into Thorpe Brook. At this site, the Hinesburg Town Garage, buildings and a berm next to Beecher Brook were removed to make space for the stream to spread out onto what was originally its natural floodplain, but had been filled in over time. In addition, rocks and logs were added to the brook to raise its level, to allow it to spread out onto its new floodplain, thereby dropping sediment held in the water before it gets washed down the brook to the LaPlatte River and Lake Champlain. At Shelburne Community School, this project transformed the area in the middle of the school bus circle from a grassy lawn with storm grates, where water went directly from the parking lot into McCabe's Brook, into a rain garden, which allows the water to sink into the ground, getting cleaned up by the plants in the rain garden before being sent on to the brook and lake. So let's talk briefly about what town boards and commissions can do to help improve water quality. First, we can enhance language for protection of river corridors, buffers, floodplains, and wetlands in town plans and land use regulations. We are developing a handout that will give recommendations and more detailed examples of how different towns have tackled this. We can design for climate change by going above and beyond existing state regulations. For example, lower the trigger for the review of the amount of impervious surface. Hinesburg now requires enhanced stormwater management practices for development of 10,000 square feet of impervious surface instead of the state's 1 acre trigger. Without enhanced land management practices, new weather patterns will damage the lake sooner. We can go above and beyond municipal roads general permit standards. This roadside swale in Charlotte at East Thompson's Point Road was designed to carry water from a 100-year storm in the swale. We can condition private road designs through the DRB. The municipal roads general permit applies only to public roads, but we have many private roads and driveways in our towns. We need to apply these MRGP design principles to driveways and private roads and enhance them to prepare for larger storms. Examples of this include crowning the road to prevent gully erosion, grass lining ditches on the sides, including water bars on steeper roads, and installing check dams and rock lining on steeper road ditches to slow the flow. You can be informed by documented water quality conditions of Shelburne, Charlotte, and Hinesburg streams. On our website in the library, you can read recent reports about our water quality conditions and also find the scorecard map I mentioned earlier. Your town could start a conservation fund to protect natural areas of high public value, such as the Charlotte Conservation Fund. This East Charlotte Lewis Creek property was conserved with funding from the Charlotte Conservation Fund, Charlotte Land Trust, and LCA. We can mitigate impacts from historic building and farming too close to stream corridors and wetland areas. Mitigate impacts from historic stream alterations that now increase flows, allowing excessive phosphorus loading to the lake. Your towns provide funding support each year to LCA, and we have a devoted group of volunteers who help collect water quality samples. Please consider joining our team and collaborating with us on work to improve our streams and lakes' water quality. Investing now in preventive measures and fixing past mistakes will cost us less in the end. Please reach out to me with any questions or to get involved. Funding for this presentation was provided by Lake Champlain Basin Program and NEIWPCC. What we do on our properties and in our towns will determine our success in restoring both the health and beauty of Lake Champlain and our community health. Thank you very much.